You have $300,000 in the bank. Sit with that number for a second. $300,000. Most people never see that in their account, ever. And yet, the person staring at that screen right now, they feel broke. Not can't pay rent broke. That quiet, gnawing kind of broke, where the number is right there, and something inside still whispers, it's not enough. In 2026, that whisper might actually be right. 2026 wealth benchmarks. Are you actually behind? Today we're doing something most finance channels won't. We're laying out the real numbers, the benchmarks. What financial security actually looks like right now, broken down by age. Some of it's going to sting, but by the end, you're not just going to know where you stand, you're going to know exactly how to move. Let's go. Think of wealth like a ladder, not a race. Every rung is a stage of financial life. Most people have no idea what the rungs actually look like, so let's fix that. And when I say net worth, I mean everything you own minus everything you owe, your real number. Age 25, the foundation years. Average net worth at 25 is $10,000 to $30,000. Sounds low because it is. Student loans, entry-level pay, figuring out adult life. But the benchmark at 25 isn't the number, it's the habit. The people who pull ahead here aren't making the most money. They're the ones who automate something, even $50 a month. Because at 25, time is your biggest asset. Most people throw it away without realizing it. Age 35, the pressure cooker. By 35, the average is $90,000 to $130,000, but the median, what most people actually have, is closer to $45,000. Why the gap? Because at 35, you've got two types of people, the ones quietly stocking, maxing retirement accounts, building assets, and then the ones caught in what I call the middle-class tax trap. Good job, decent salary, nice car, maybe a house, but after taxes, rent, childcare, and just existing, nothing's left to actually build with. You look successful from the outside, but you're running on a treadmill that's slightly too fast. Age 45, make or break. At 45, compound interest is either working for you or against you, almost no neutral zone. Been investing since your 30s? The snowball is rolling. It feels almost unfair. Been putting it off? This is your wake-up call. Not the end, the wake-up call. You still have 20 years before traditional retirement. 20 years is more than enough to rebuild, but only if you stop waiting for the right moment. Age 55, the point of no return? Average at 55 is $400,000 to $600,000, but only for households that have been intentional. A huge portion of the population hits 55 with under $100,000 saved. At 55, it's not just about how much you have, it's about whether your money is positioned to last. These benchmarks aren't a report card, they're a compass. Knowing where you are means you can start navigating to where you want to be. Here's a question nobody's really answering. Why does $300,000 feel like nothing in 2026? Let me tell you a quick story. You're 10 years old. You've saved $100 in birthday money. You feel rich. You go to the store, and your favorite candy bar now costs $4. Your $100 doesn't feel the same as it did last year. That's inflation. And in the most basic terms, the same dollar buys less stuff over time. Over the last several years, inflation didn't nudge prices up. It sprinted. Groceries, housing, insurance, childcare, the basic cost of existing up dramatically. And most paychecks didn't keep pace. So here's what $300,000 actually has to cover in 2026. Down payment on a home in most cities, $60K to $120K. Family emergency fund, 6 months, $40K. Kids college, partially funded, $30K to $50K. Start of a retirement buffer, $100K plus. Added up, $300,000 isn't lavish savings. It's the minimum viable safety net, the floor, not the ceiling. And here's the piece that really breaks people. The old advice, get a stable job, stay loyal, retire comfortably, that equation is cracked. Wages for most workers didn't keep pace with the cost of ownership. Homes, stocks, businesses, the price of those went up dramatically. People who owned things got wealthier. People who only had their time and labor to sell ran faster, got less far. A stable job gives you a paycheck, but a paycheck alone in 2026 sustains survival. It doesn't build wealth. Let me introduce you to two monkeys. Monkey number 1 finds 100 bananas, eats every single one, today, right now, because bananas are great and tomorrow is uncertain, and honestly, what's he saving them for? Monkey number 2 also finds 100 bananas, eats enough to feel good, then plants some. The average monkey laughs at him. Why are you putting bananas in the ground? You can't even eat them. The smart monkey just smiles. 5 years later, the average monkey is searching for food every day. The smart monkey is sitting in the shade of banana trees. Now bring this into real life. The $100,000 milestone, whether it's in savings, a retirement account, or invested assets, is the moment everything changes. Not because of the number itself, but because of what it does. It's called the shadow portfolio effect. Once you have a meaningful invested base, it starts generating returns that compound on themselves. You're not just earning on your money, you're earning on the earnings of your money. And that gap, it never closes, it only widens. The mistake most people make is waiting until they have enough to start planting. But the smart monkey didn't wait for 1,000 bananas. He started with what he had.
All right. Where you stand, we covered that. Why the math feels cruel, we covered that. Now let's talk about what you actually do. The habits that build wealth aren't complicated. They're not glamorous. I call them the unsexy habits. Nobody makes a highlight reel about these, but these are the ones that actually work. Habit 1. Automate before you think. The biggest enemy of saving is willpower. Willpower runs out, so make the decision before you have to make it. Set up an automatic transfer the day after your paycheck hits, even $25. That money disappears before you can spend it. Over time, you stop noticing it's gone. But it's not gone. It's building. Habit 2. Destroy high-interest debt first. No investment consistently returns 20% a year, but credit card debt at 20% costs you 20%, guaranteed. Paying it off is the highest guaranteed return you'll ever get. Once it's gone, that monthly payment becomes an investment contribution. The snowball picks up speed. Habit 3. The 1% trick. Increase your retirement contribution by just 1% this year. If you're at 5%, go to 6%. You won't feel it in your paycheck, but over 20 years, that 1% compounds into something that'll genuinely move you. Do it again next year and the year after. Habit 4. Plant one tree. Build one income stream that doesn't require your time every day. It doesn't have to be big. A high-yield savings account working for you, a small dividend portfolio, a skill monetized occasionally, even REITs in a brokerage account. The goal isn't to replace your income overnight. The goal is to have something growing that isn't entirely dependent on you showing up. Because the day your main income gets disrupted, and for most people it will, that second stream is the difference between a speed bump and a catastrophe. A lot of people watching this didn't grow up in households that talked about money. Nobody explained net worth. Nobody showed them how compounding works or why starting early, even small, changes everything. That's not your fault, but it is your opportunity. Financial knowledge, the kind that used to be reserved for people who grew up around it, is available now in a way it's never been before. The gap between people who understand money and people who don't isn't a gap in intelligence. It's a gap in exposure. And every time you learn something real, you close that gap. You don't have to come from money to build wealth, but you do have to understand the rules. And the people who wrote those rules, they're counting on you not to. So learn them anyway. If this helped, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from. Drop a comment telling me which benchmark hit closest to home, and share this with one person who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one.